Welcome to another episode of the ASQPodcast, where we focus on life, leadership, and culture. Join us for the conclusion of Fredric Cole's engaging interview. Stay tuned. Yeah.
Right?
For
so
sure.
Yeah.
I was like, sorry, man, I come from Los Angeles. I don't know where you come from, but there's plenty of I knew he came from North Carolina, too. Sergeant White.
Let me guess.
Yep.
North Carolina.
Yep, he was. He eventually got kicked out for using cocaine shortly thereafter.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right? But he went at me so hard, you know. The other thing, I didn't back down, right? I just kind of have, not that I say I have a mouth on me, but like, all right, like, you're going to say this to me. I'm going to say something back.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, you joined, is that why you joined? He goes, I came here for a job. I was like, there are plenty of jobs where I come from.
Yeah.
I had a job since I was 16.
Yeah.
The day I turned 16, I got my driver's license. I got a job in that order.
Right.
Yeah.
No problem. Went to the supermarket. I got my work permit. I can work. Are you guys hiring? We sure are. You can come bag groceries.
Yep.
Job, money in the bank. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, I've always had a job in Los Angeles. So I didn't join the Army for a job. College, you know.
College, yeah.
But he came at me pretty hard, you know. And so I think coming from small towns and then going there are why you see these guys have so many problems in the suicide rate, right, in the military after, you know, the second campaign, Iraq and Afghanistan, you know. Yeah. So those things all shape you. And back to your earlier question, do I regret it? No. Because, you know, being a military police put me in situations where I had to learn to take charge very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing like that until you are the one in charge of a situation. Domestic violence is horrible. You cannot. I mean, we see the aftermath. We see the movies.
Yeah.
We see it. It's different when you see it for real.
For real life,
you know, me and my partner, whoever, is the one tapping on the door, and it gets quiet inside because we stood out there for a few seconds just to hear what was, you know, to confirm that there was, and you could hear them in there fighting and clinging and playing and stuff. And they open up the door, and, you know, it's just a mess.
Yeah.
The kids are rumpled up, screaming in the corner, and the wife is over there
crying,
bleeding, and the guy is like, what? You know? And we're like, yeah, we heard there's, no, we're good. Now, can you step outside? You know, we're in charge. Accident, people arguing, I'm in charge.
Yeah.
You know, I got that kind of stuff. Again, it teaches you what the military does is teaches you, you know, your limits, that you've got a lot more than you think you have. You know, physically, they push you pretty far, you know, and you've got more as a human being, and it builds up a certain level of mental toughness. There are things that you have to go through that just build you up as a person, and that shows you can do it, and you can survive and get through it. And you you said, boy, I got through that, then I can ease. That's why I think when people come out of the military, right, if they've, you know, been able to compartmentalize whatever it is they went through, you know, and deal with it, then that's why they say they're pretty struff. You're really ready to take on the world. So it probably had to be somewhere in the 92 or something like this. Colin Powell is now finished with the Iraq War. He was the first visible 5-star general since Eisenhower, right? Which is World War II, or maybe even McNamara, I think, in Vietnam. But here it is, because we always saw 4-star, but we never saw the 5-star.
The 5-star.
This guy's black. Whoa. Well spoken. Whoa. Like, first guy to beat the war, you know, computer at the Army War General College. Whoa. You know. Impressive, right? Colin Powell was the guy, you know, for a new and upcoming educated black class.
Yes.
Right? That was now had, you know, my sister's generation, okay? They are looking at him as like, wow, so they are professionals. They went to college, and now they're working and doing the whole professional thing. Here is a professional military guy who went to college, right? He went to City College, and he came from New York, right? Jamaican and all that kind of stuff. But Yeah, he's very impressive. But then I saw the salaries for this guy, right?
Yeah.
And it's like in 010, which is what he was, after 30 years of service, $60,000 a year. And I was just like, it's not a lot of, it's not a lot of money. I was like, 60,000? I could start doing the math now, how much a house costs, and okay, granted, maybe his house is paid for, but still, like, 60,000, not a lot. So now I'm like looking around, and I'm really getting interested in politics, and I'm watching C-SPAN a lot. I used to watch C-SPAN in the Army because now I'm kind of realizing how my life is being controlled. Because now I'm watching these guys debate on national budgets in the military and whether or not to. Oh, there's a conflict now going on in Kosovo. Are we going to send our troops? I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a troop. I saw that as like, wow, these guys are very powerful, very influential, directing the path of the country. And I was like, wow, that's a very interesting position to be in, And I started researching them, and I started to say, oh, most of these guys were attorneys, right? So then it started making sense, like well-spoken, articulate, getting up, speaking in front of people, right? If you look at, what goes on the floor of Congress, right? Making these impassioned speeches, in 5 minutes. I yield my rest of my time, 2 minutes. 2 minutes, they would lay it out, man. I was like, wow, this is very impressive. So I started researching them. And most of them were lawyers, were attorneys. Today, you have doctors and all that kind of stuff. But back then, the common thing was law school. Very clear, And I kind of started putting it together. It's like, well, what do you need to get into law school? It's like they want to see debate. It's like, well, that makes sense. Speech, logic, all this kind of stuff, right? And I just saw it. I was like, wow, like if I could get there, that would be, that would make up for not graduating high school. I think that's what now I started, okay, I know my mom is disappointed, but boy, if I could do that.
Right away.
Boom. And I started looking at the salaries. Wait a minute, like, okay. And also I want to go to a top school. Like now my sister, right, she's gone on to college. She's gone on to, graduate school, and she got into Cornell, Ivy League. Whoa, what? Ivy League? Wow. Okay. But not only wow, but okay, touchable. Very, very impressive. Of course, at that time, right, what I try to do is relate things, right? So 84, there's Obama, almost during that same time frame.
That's your sister.
Going to Columbia. See what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying, yeah.
Same group, same age, same, right? All of that kind of stuff. So, and Colin Powell was the military professional of that class. So he was, he was so impressive. When he opened his mouth, you were just like, not only like, oh, he's a well-spoken black guy, but this guy is smart.
Like
incredible, really smart. And just he could, I think the thing that really blew me away later about him was when he was being interviewed, he didn't really need anything to read off of. He could answer very complex questions after just a few seconds of thought, and it's just like, this guy he's an incredible speaker. But also he's black, so that as a minority, you look forward to that. It's like, wow, me too, right? I can too. It gives you hope, which Obama ran on, and that's what was the thing about him. For whatever he did, and didn't do, or it was the hope that other kids can see it and you can too. I think I'm looking at, I want to be a lawyer, and I'm like, boy, top schools, all these guys then have a lot in common. You find out they went to top schools. Right. And my brother-in-law he's there now saying, hey, listen, if you're going to go to college, this is where you want to go.
This is where you want to go. Yeah.
You only want to go here because that opens doors like you cannot imagine, And so I said, okay. So I told us, I don't know if I can do it, right? I'm coming out, but I'm going to give it a try.
Yeah.
It just seemed so far away. And what I saw was the salaries of the guys who came out of, the Ivy League law schools.
Yeah.
Starting salary was $120,000, median salary.
This is in the 90s.
This is yes.
Early 90s.
30 years, 60,000. 5 years, 7 years, 120. Like, your whole life in the military, you're just beginning your life.
Yeah.
It only kind of goes upward trajectory from there.
Yeah, from there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go do this, I get out, I kind of, stumbled through my early kind of, went to go live with my sister. They were like, hey, come, we could use a babysitter. Like, you need to go to school. There's good, it all kind of worked out, right?
Yeah.
So I go live with them, get in, and it's going okay.
Yeah.
I get in, and I'm like, okay, I kind of got this. Also, they live in New Jersey, New York City.
Yeah.
Right? So really first time in New York. Whoa. Whoa.
Yeah.
LA was something, but this is different. It was the beginning of the upswing of New York.
Yes, change. Correct.
Giuliani come in. Disney was coming into Times Square. But all of that, it was on the upswing, which was good. And it was good for New York. It was a good time to be in. New York was on, was really, really starting to come out of this kind of bad place. David Dinkins was the mayor, and whoever, but it was just, there's an energy that I just could not put my finger on, and I was like, whatever is going on here, I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
That's all I said to myself is I want to be, I want to be here. I just want to work here. I want to just, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And something is going on here. I said, I don't know what it is, but I'm just going to find out. There's just an energy to the place that other places you only get in large metropolises. If I want to be here, where am I going to go to college? Best college. What is the best college?
Yeah.
Columbia.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that then became the target. Because the other thing was that I started to realize is that where you go to college kind of in the United States is where you settle at, right? It's that whole experience of going away was also when you start to enter into adulthood.
Yes.
And that's where you also go to get your kind of first real job. Once you get that first real job, that's it. You got a taste, apartment, freedom, adulthood, furniture, dinner, work, money, it's so you settle there, and that's where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
So in order to do that, then if I could get into, NYU, Columbia, whatever, but, I felt like that, if I could do that, then cool.
What do you think gave you that foresight? Because a lot of people will listen to this, right? And they will say, holy shit, that's for going to a community college to go to an Ivy League.
Not graduating high school.
Not
taking the SATs.
Exactly.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Doing that, it's a lot of
big leap. I just knew that's where I wanted to go, right? So now I'm in junior college, and I'm out in California. My grades are doing really well. I really got the hang of this, and I meet my sociology teacher first, and he was very influential in how that I decided to get into sociology and study, because he made sociology fascinating.
Yeah.
Just like my history teacher, I think it was 11th grade, Mr. Baracci, I think at Granada Hills High School. He made history fascinating. There's those teachers that bring the subject to life, right? And this guy, history could be very boring, right? Numbers and events. This guy made it real, and he really focused on the Native American experience and how painful that must have been for them. Yeah, he focused a lot on that, right? But he brought it to life, man. He made that class. I never will forget that, right? And so this guy did the same thing for sociology, and he was just talking, about, homeschooling kids in 1996 and, gender issues and all of he really made sociology interesting as a very different perspective of looking at us as a people, and who we are in our distinct cultures, right? The O.J. Simpson trial, how effective that is, and all of these different things, So I was like, I could, And he said a couple things that were very interesting. He's like, look, why do you need, like, you don't really need to graduate high school, you know? Mm-hmm. He's like, look, we homeschool our kids. He goes, you don't even really need high school. He's like, you could just take them, homeschool them to junior college.
Yeah.
It's economical, it's this, it's that. He's like, you know, from junior college, once you do good there, then you go right to the regular college. You transfer up to a 4-year college.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like, right. What he said made a lot of sense, you know, and it fit me. So I was like, yep, I feel like that works. Yeah, it's not bad, you know. And he was like, and then he said something that was, you know, key. He said, what, you know, the SAT, you know, it's just a test to see how you might do in college.
Yeah.
You know, you're in college. That was his whole thing. It's like, you're in junior college. You're doing college level work. Yeah. You know, and so those things resonated with me pretty hard. I remember them. He just, you know, went through a lot of these issues step by step. And so now I'm approaching the goal that I'm ready to apply to the big schools, you know. And when it came to Columbia, you know, she called and first I saw. Sorry, I have to back up because you reminded me that there was a recruiting tour. Okay. That the school, Columbia, was, you know, coming through across the country, talking to new incoming freshmen or so who are interested, right?
Yeah.
And presenting to school. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going. And the woman who was the recruiter, after her presentation, I went up to her and I asked her, I said, hey, listen, you know, here's my story. Right, I just got out of the Army. My grades are really good. I have a 3.9 GPA. You know, what do you think my chances are getting into the college? And she was kind of just said, you know, nil. You know, I said, because I feel like transferring into Columbia is very, very difficult. Yeah. You know, and I feel like those are kids who don't want to go to Dartmouth anymore and want to go to school in New York City. And she kind of just kind of nodded her head like, yeah, you know, and she was basically saying, you don't have a shot, buddy. You know, and I was like, fuck. I come home, right? Even my friend Larry, who was with me, right? He was just coming along as a friend, but he's also, right, same boat. Yeah. Finished the Army, grew up in the same neighborhood, basically, in South Central, and now going to college and wants to go on to a bigger school. He was more interested in West Coast schools, right? But he came along because we were friends, right? We supported each other. And he was like, the ride home was difficult, tense. You know. Yes, because I was so defeated. You know, it was like, here I am. I felt like I have been working so hard to get here. It is my dream school. Like, what are my chances? And she was like, no. And it was like getting a no. So I come home and I was like, Columbia's off the list, right? I was living with my sister at the time. Or I came into her apartment, right? She lived around the corner from my mom. I was living with my mom, my stepdad. Yeah. And so I was like, I'm not going to Columbia. She's like, why not? I was like, because I just came from the recruitment thing. And the woman basically said, I'm not getting in. Yeah. You know, my profile doesn't fit in school, you know? And I was like, the fee is $120 or whatever it was. I was like, I don't need to pay it for something. She's like, I will pay. The rest is kind of history, right? So I put in the application, I get in, and I get there, and it was like probably after the first or second week, I see the recruiter walking out of the main administration building. Oh, wow. I wanted to punch her. I'm sorry, Jesse. I'm sorry.
Okay. I get it.
Yeah. As a black person.
And imagine,
she was black, I forgot to mention. It was, every time I saw her, I just was like, you know, but...
Yeah, but wasn't it sweet vengeance or revenge, so to speak, that you went through?
I didn't feel like that, though, when I graduated. Yeah. I was more like, don't crush dreams. Yes. Ever to anyone. Yeah. Ever. Yeah. It's difficult, yes. Possible, no. So that's what I was more upset about her at that point. Yeah. You know, and I was like, how dare you? That's all I could think. Yeah. You know, I didn't hate her. No. I did want to punch her. I ain't gonna lie. Like, it was I was like, oh my God. Like, do you know? Like, I made it. Yeah. I made it. Yeah. You know, of all people. So at that time, I remember the statistic was 1/3 of all available kids to go to college actually apply, right? And so the numbers, I think, were much small. I thought it was much larger, but it's just like a third of 18 to 25-year-olds actually apply to college. And then you're talking like the percentage that get into that school, is less than 10%.
Yes.
So I was like, but I was like, okay, I was on a path to go. I was like, I have an objective to get. This is part of me getting there. I'm here. So graduating was like, whoop, I did it. Next. Now I got to get on to the next path. Right. I remember the first week, I was like, these were all the nerds from high school. Like, this is all the nerds. Yeah. Here they are. These are kids we picked on when I was in high school. Right. But at the same time, I was also one of them. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Intellectually, this was a challenge, and Columbia was the right place for me
at that time.
It was. I just knew that was the place where I wanted to be. And it was. And then it just pushed me. Now it challenged me. I could all of it. And this was it. Even though I had succeeded in junior college, this place was like. This was on a different planet. I thought I was doing very well. I was knocked all the way back down, like to the bottom.
Oh wow!
I had to have an English tutor for my writing. And I thought they were like, "Yo, you got an A out of the hardest guy at the junior college." That was nothing at this level, but it was precision. The English teacher was like, an A paper isn't a perfect paper. It almost does not exist. But he got us pretty goddamn close.
Oh, wow.
He was so strict. Comma splice, automatic B-. I don't care how good the paper is. If you, that was the standard. And you know what? We made it. Rise to that occasion. You know what I mean? And that's, there's something about that group of individuals that they'll go farther than most people will go. And it's just a higher concentration. And it's in New York, which is already a high concentration of excellence on every level. Columbia was great. It's a lot difficult, I never had enough money. And that led to me getting a job at the university, which ultimately they paid my tuition. And that, took me in a different direction. I was just hustling, man. I learned time management. Like, you have nobody's business. I'm working a full-time job and going to school full-time. And
at the school,
it's a very difficult school. It's very challenging. The work was just, if I wasn't working, I was in the library. Or it was one of three places: school, library, work. It was one of those three places. Most I would sleep just 2:00 in the morning. Get up at 7, class. We just did it. I don't know how you just did. But again, you are capable of
doing it.
You just don't understand, and you have to believe and go through it. But we are all capable of it. But now, so I'm pressing on to law school. But now I'm at this big school, 1996, right? Cell phones are just coming out. At Radio Shack, right? And they're handheld. There's Motorola's, of course. Eventually, we get to the flip phone, but and the internet. Of course, we came from America Online, which really wasn't the web. It was just rooms, curated areas, which they had put together the content, but. You were online and chatting with people, and porn is starting to kind of proliferate a little bit. And there was the web, but it really wasn't there. Right. And now I get to this school, and it's very fast internet. Right. There are web pages coming along. It is like, whoa, the internet is happening. And I take to it like, why? This is. What is? Kind of. There were no books.
Nothing.
You
had to figure it out.
You had to figure it out. It's just Unix, and then you had to learn Unix commands and how to set up. Once you figured out Unix, it was fairly easy. It just wasn't visible like Windows. Right? I think that's the problem that most people have. that Windows and Apple, whoever came up with it first, and the graphical interface or whatever, but you could see it.
Yeah.
But Linux, you had to give it commands to see it, and that's what I think drove people nuts. It's just a little too difficult.
Yeah.
But the internet it's coming along. As long as you got to learn a little Unix, and you can figure out how to set up web pages. And I turned that into a job. I turned that into work, and that elevated me to certain things. And I'm just learning, and it's growing, and it's just .com thing is booming, and whoa, this thing is I don't know.
Yeah,
it's different.
Yeah.
There had been nothing like it.
No.
America Online, it was not America Online. It was like America Online on steroids.
Yeah.
Like 100 times over. So this thing is, whoa, and I'm exposed because I'm in New York. I'm at this, I'm getting exposed to different kinds of kids who are extremely talented with this stuff. They're building 3D things online and modeling and engineering schools and all this kind of stuff. Wow. And these are I'm 25. These kids are like 20. And I'm just like, man, I was a knucklehead at 20. I was running around with a gun, like playing foosball and ping pong in Germany, with freezing in the cold. And these kids are just like, whoa. And they're sharp. When you hear them in class, they are like, oh, but that was this theory. You just rip it off. You look at what the high schools where they went to. And, so like I said, it was an amazing experience as far as learning. It was where I needed to be. And it was just right where I needed to be, right time, right place. It all fell into place. But this internet thing is looking pretty good. And I was lining up DC internships to go off in the law. And it was that summer, right? I really kind of had to decide.
You had to make that was a crossroads.
Yes. Do I go for the job, right? Which is going to pay me a lot of money. And it's like, shoot, man. I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I'm behind on my loans. That was a whole nother story, disaster and all that kind of stuff. But I need some money. And school over here, they were like, listen, we can get you a job. We're going to pay this. What? Internet, got it. And I asked a friend of mine, we had, very poignant conversation. And I was like trying to decide, do I want to go this way towards law or internet? And he said, look at it this way. He's like, my parents are lawyers. They're miserable. Yeah. He said, you would make an amazing lawyer. Because I get it. He goes, you will be very good at it. You know? And I had been in debate. I had won debate competitions and always, great speaker. Public speaking is never a problem for me, right? Getting up and talking in front of people. Other people were afraid. I could go first. No problem when I was a kid. I like doing it. Not that I like the attention, but I didn't mind sharing information, I think. I think that was the thing about public speaking that I liked. And the internet was that. Yeah. Right? Free sharing. And now I'm talking to people all over the world, and I have a problem. And this guy in Estonia or wherever, Russia, is helping me with my problem. Yeah. He's like, dude, paste your code right here. Let me see. Oh, here's your mistake right here. Yeah. I was like, wow, this is bananas.
And it's collaborative. You're collaborating.
It's like, this guy's willing to help me for free. Doesn't even know me, not asking for money, and is enthusiastic about it. Yeah. He's like, if you need, look, check this out. It's like, do this. I was just like, this is cool. Like, this is real. It's like, and you can make money. And it was kind of like, I always thought the internet was like a new video game. And I think like people my kind of generation felt that too, but the kids who were coming along in college at that time were like, yeah, this is what I do. Like, I like programming and developing and doing all of these different things. And the internet's just a tool. It's really, And I was, like I said, was right there at big school. And and my friend said, look, this internet thing comes easy to you. And I was like, it's too easy. He said, that's the point. Yeah. He's like, you understand it, man. You're talking like it's nothing. Yeah. He's like, I can't even, I don't understand a thing. So I got what he was saying. And I
And you decided to go in that direction.
The money turned out to be the same because there was so much money. I remember in the late 90s, graphic designers were getting cars as bonuses.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in San Francisco. Razorfish. Of all of these places, if you had, Photoshop skills and you were pretty good, you know, as a designer, and I thought about it, I was like, wow, I self-taught myself how to do Photoshop, but I wasn't an artist.
Okay.
The artists were starting to move into Photoshop.
Yeah.
Not the kind of developers, engineers, which it was starting to split.
Yeah.
But everybody could do kind of everything back then. I just thought it was a great thing of sharing information for free around the world. I thought, I was like, when everybody gets the speed that I am experiencing now, because most of the country hadn't been. I said they were on dial-up.
Yeah.
We had something was called a T4 line. Right? It was just incredibly fast, and it just moved like how the pictures downloaded quickly and all that kind of stuff, right? And so, it was great. Ready to move into my own apartment. I was already making $60,000 a year right there.
Okay.
In college.
Yeah.
So. With tuition paid for.
Okay.
Right. It's New York City salary.
Yeah.
They're big.
Yeah.
And so Colin Powell got that one.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it kind of sick. Yeah. I hadn't even stepped out there yet.
Yeah.
And eventually, graduation. So I worked for a year, but then the opportunity came. Yeah, we'll pay you, $90,000 a year.
Okay.
Cool.
And
this job $100,000. Like it's whatever. Shoot, law school. There it is. Yeah. I made it. Yeah. People were getting laid off. A third. Sometimes 2/3 of companies were just one day. All of thank you is the last day. They're out of venture capital money.
Yeah.
So it was all funded by venture capitalists, and they were like, "Listen, there's no turnaround in profit. Ended my funding. That's it."
Yeah.
So there was a lot of money flowing. There was. And when it stopped hard.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, it fell out. And, so, we started talking. It was like, Greg. I think I can't remember exactly what year it was when we really started. We were just like, I'm trying to think, it was before or after 9/11. We started before, started making good money. His idea, right? He was like, look, we got Canal Street right here. People come from all over the world to buy this fake crap. They know it's fake.
Yeah.
Why not take Canal Street to them? That was his concept.
That was the concept. Okay.
Right? And it was like, all right, yep, cool. I get it. Not bad. And he was like, we could eBay. He's like, look at all these fools selling the same crap off of Canal Street on eBay. And we were just like, all right, but it's counterfeit. So we started rolling, and we did fairly well. Yeah. Fairly quickly, and we started getting better and better at it. We started applying more resources. We're hiring people to do things. Yeah. Hiring college kids. We're recruiting other kids from Columbia. Right. Get this young kid named Eric to build our website. He's probably 19 or something like. He's just a kid, but he's talented, very sharp, very smart, hustler. Doesn't really care if it's gray area, whatever. What is this? I think he was probably confident, like, if I get in trouble, like, I'm sure my parents can get me out of trouble. Yeah,
he was one of the car too.
Right. I think he just was whatever. He was just like, all right, these guys are cool. They went to Columbia. It's like, cool. Everybody's making money. I think that's just kind of how everybody looked at it. Yeah. And so we're doing okay, but not like whatever. We're just kind of skating by in New York. We're doing okay. And then one day we're both out in Vegas for New Year's. Greg, I think, was living out there for a little bit. He moved out there to go hang out. He had a friend that was, getting into the porn business out there. And so he was out there kind of working with him. And it was a kid that he grew up with, played tennis with, because Greg, from Boca Raton, right? So
Where they all play tennis.
Where they all play tennis, right? Everyone. But we weren't, and I told Greg, he was this guy, went to Columbia, very sharp kid.
Yeah.
Just ultra talented, ultra smart, just very cool. He wasn't a nerd. He knew he was smart, but was cool about it.
Yeah.
He wasn't outwardly like I'm smart.
Yeah. Okay. I'm like, dude, I'm smarter than you. Okay. Like, he just was never like that.
Right.
And he knew it.
Yeah. But you knew that he. Okay.
You knew he was smart. It's just school that was, a feeder school for Ivy League schools.
Yeah.
That's super expensive. So that just lets you know his family has money. But his parents are also very down to earth too. And it's a lot. They had some good money.
Yeah.
But he was just a cool kid, and also, treated me like anybody else.
Yeah.
Didn't like change his life, didn't code switch.
Never
did that. Loved rap. You know what I mean? It was just cool about it. He was just a cool kid.
Yeah.
And he was just different, and he was smart in computers, and he just kind of was like, he's like, I got this idea to do this. I mean, I was like, shit. It's like, you sure we can do it? And then we did it, and we worked out. And so then, as our relationship grew, we knew we just hit it off immediately. We did. I think we kind of understood each other. But we were in Vegas, and I told him, I was like, look, dude, we're not making the kind of money we need to make. Just tell me what you need me to do. I'll get it done. We'll get there. And like his eyes, I think, just lit up. You know what I mean? He was like, this is what I've been looking for. He was like, this is the kind of partner I need to like get there, So, So we take off, man.
Yeah.
And we just get, idea after idea starts flowing, coming out of them. So there was a kind of a definite path to where we wanted to get to, and it started out on eBay, and it would move into different areas. 9/11 was a big one.
Yeah.
Right. 9/11 happened, and that just, wow. It just being in New York and just wow, it was life altering. It's one of those points in history where you say before or after 9/11, right? Pearl Harbor was kind of the big one, right? In World War II. 9/11 is one of those points in history of where were you? Kind of like the shuttle disaster.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I was in 11th grade English when that happened.
Yeah.
So there was one of those things, it's on American soil, and it just killed New York. And we knew, like, if it was do or die.
Yeah.
We're able to kind of be okay, but in order to really get out there, we got to lower our overhead, increase our profits, and take our profits and develop more to build this.
Yeah.
And Vegas was the place to do it.
Okay.
Right?
Infrastructure-wise.
Just cheap, cool, easy living, quiet. You could just kind of move out there and just nobody bothered. This wasn't New York.
Yeah.
But he was like, and then we'll kind of decide from there. I was like, all right, Vegas is only 3 hours from LA. Yeah, sure. I'm done with New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. We set up shop out there. We're doing our thing. Now we're growing. Now, and a couple key things happened. My girlfriend that I was dating at the time, right? She moved out with me. She didn't like Greg, right? She always thought that I followed him. She was like, well, you just do whatever he says. But, I was like, listen, we talk out everything.
Yeah.
We decide together how we're going to do it. Our arrangement that he comes up with the ideas, I get it done.
You execute.
I make his idea happen because somehow or another, I make it. I get it done, and I execute. I figure out how to do it. And so it just worked. That arrangement always worked. And the money just started to really come in. Yeah. Because we did exactly that.
You complemented each other.
That and the work ethic, right, that we had, to get into Columbia, it was very, very tough and difficult, and a lot of dedication to the task at hand, right? And because we were interested in internet, all this stuff was easy for us. And, you know, like I said, the money started to come in. It started to get comfortable, you know, and fast. And so we had to learn how to manage the money. But again, it went right back into our infrastructure, into building and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, what we were doing is very gray area stuff. There's, you know, some of it illegal. Like I said, the other stuff was gray area. I was like, no problem. Yeah. You know, I was able to reconcile it, and for whatever it's worth, the risk for the reward, to get to legitimacy. Right. That was the goal. It was like we were just round the clock. You know, and then Greg was like, I think he went to Florida. He's like, dude, we're moving to Florida. You know, it was like, word, I can do that. You know, because Vegas, we knew Vegas was temporary. It was, again, the purpose was to reduce our spend, right? It's simple profit loss. So reduce your spend, maximize your revenue, and then and reinvest, right? I just saw that model in a Harvard business class a couple months ago. I was like, so yeah, it's very basic, you know. So it worked out, and then we moved to Miami. Right? And then it was just like, we're moving to Miami. And I was like, cool, beach. He was like, yep, dude, we're on the water. It's like, I'm not even going to show you pictures of the house. It's like, you know, so now we're doing pretty good. You know, money is starting to really, it's just, we're growing as a team. You know, I'm managing people. The ball is just rolling like it should. And we're pretty tight operation. You know, we ran things. If we didn't run things loosely, we were comfortable. Right. We knew we both came from the .com era. We knew how to work comfortably, but work hard. It wasn't about, I'm in shorts and whatever. Like, I'm just going to and we make enough money to not have to work for the next couple weeks. Right? We can easily take off and be fine. And it's just still rolling. You know, we had automated so many processes. But we still continue to work at a very, very tough pace, you know, building and looking. But that's what it takes to be successful. Right? This stop at nothing, you know, working around the clock, especially for the first couple of years till you really get it floating, you know, that effort, and it paid off. It paid dividends, you know. And I'd seen that in other people that I had worked for. You know, they had spent 2 or 3 years just 24/7 every day to get at it, you know, and it just works. It allows you to apply, you know, and we were a good team, and now we're just bringing on a few other people to help augment the work and the workload, and so we can grow. Right, operationally, and we're there. You know, she's like, "Look, we need to hire more people, dude. We're growing, and we're growing fast." Correct. And we're like, we are. So now I'm tasked with, you know, I got to go out and find people. He's like, go to a temp agency and all that kind of stuff, and hire people. And you know, they got to fit this profile. You got to ask these questions because of the nature of the work. You know, we got to be careful, and yada yada yada. Correct. So all of that kind of stuff. So. Again, I get it done. I just do what I always do. Research, ask this, just, you know, don't take no, keep trying till you get there. And eventually you get there. And then just improve the process. Right.
Thank you for tuning into this episode. If you're ready for meaningful personal growth and transforming your business or organization, visit our website at ASQEmpowermentservices.com for more information. Stay tuned for more exciting topics.